Well, welcome back to Salty Tarot. We're just going to dive right in. We've got some oracle cards here. I just, for whatever reason, flipped it over and we've got recognition on the bottom. I was going to give them a little bit more of a shuffle. Yeah, actually, let's put that back. So admiration for your hard work is coming. So we're going to look into the energies of your connection. Spirit, please tune me into the energies of the collective, and then we'll get into the tarot. And I'd sort of intended to bring out some channeled messages, so maybe we'll do that in this reading, depending on how it goes. I just want to keep things brief. So what are the current energies in this connection? Oh my goodness. Okay, we got a lot here. We've got obsession, we've got release, we've got self-limiting beliefs, and retreat. And on the bottom, we've got lovers. Interesting. Okay, with this obsession card, we've got focusing too much on one situation, the need to take a step back. Release grudges, wounds, and pent-up feelings through healthy activities. I feel like obsession into release is that's a pretty clear message. Self-limiting beliefs. Negative thoughts are creating a roadblock in your life. And retreat. Time spent alone. Reflection on past and current situations. And then this Lovers card is actually shadowing the retreat card. So on the back of the deck, we have Lovers, a passionate connection, shared vision, and values. So whether this is an energy of focusing too much on, for example, something pulling away from the connection, like work, or focusing too much on the connection itself, there is a need to release whatever it is. And the release is also calling for letting go of wounds, grudges, past hurt. So anything that maybe is creating these self-limiting beliefs. So, if you release that, if you work on releasing those things, it might be that you're able to shift your thoughts and pull back the layers, those onion layers of self-limiting beliefs, and find the sweet fruit underneath. And so, of course, one way to do this work of releasing self-limiting beliefs especially is time spent alone, and being in your own energies, getting down to. So one thing that I was reminded of this morning is that sometimes we listen to other people's opinions about things, and our friends have our best interests at heart, hopefully. Hopefully that's why they're your friends. But they sometimes can be overprotective. They don't necessarily see all the nuances of the situation, but you do. You're in it. And, if you're feeling confusion, then that's a sign that something's not right, of course. But if it's just, sometimes we struggle to communicate to our friends or to, other supportive people in our life, family, counselors, what the seed of our attachment to a person is, or what, nobody else sees the inside of your connection. It's, you and the other person who see what transpires, are aware of how you affect each other, what the trigger points are, and what the connections are, and sometimes we talk about the triggers with other people, but we don't talk about those connection points. And I really think that's a huge shortcoming in our culture, partly because, we sort of we maybe don't want to make other people jealous, or we just focus on what needs fixing rather than on what's good. And I don't know, I would love to see just a mass societal shift towards, I think we're seeing it kind of gradually over the last couple of decades, actually. But it would be nice to see more of a focus on sharing good stories, sharing what those connection points are, what is it that anchors the connection? I am talking too much. We're going to stop there and get into the tarot. Talking too much if I want to keep this reading brief. That is. Okay, so we're going to skip over to the Crow Tarot. I just recorded another reading. And although I really love that deck, I don't want to saturate y'all with it, just because I like it. I also love the Crow Tarot very, very, very much. I want to say they're my two favorite decks, but yeah, actually, they probably are. I have many beloved decks, though. Okay, so Spirit, please tune us in, and can we get a little energy on let's just go straight to the blocks. What is blocking the connection at this time? What are the blocks in this connection? What or who is blocking the connection at this time? Well, that one almost came out. The Emperor. Somebody is controlling the situation a little too much. A little bit too much. This is what was facing upright, so we'll take those three. Bottom of the deck, we've got Temperance in reverse. I want to say that there's a releasing of these control energies happening, but I think the control energies are probably what's blocking. So somebody's just been the master of their own emotions, of their actions, of their domain. I don't know what that phrase comes from, and maybe I should look it up before I... It's definitely, there's some comedy something in there, but I don't know if it has an origin from before that. So... Yeah, sorry, random 80s and 90s snippets of television just came through my brain. Okay, so the Emperor is the one who's just very on top of their game, but as a block, it suggests over-controlling a situation. So, perhaps keeping, like, this crow is perched on, there's a ram's horn that's supporting a sword, and the Emperor crow is sitting on top of that with this crown of whitish feathers. And so, there's an energy of like moving forward, being, unhesitating, and communicating very effectively and sort of slicing through things that do not serve. But sometimes an Emperor type can just go a little too far in the direction of, making sure that everything is under control. And if everything's under control, there's no room for spontaneous goodness to come in, right? If you have everything on lock, then there's nothing that another person can add to your life. I'm not saying you in particular, but it might be that one person in this connection has been sort of over-controlling their emotions or the situation. And then there's this energy of realizing that and sort of calling to account. And so whether that's one of you calling the other on those energies, or a person realizing themselves that they've been a little bit too much in that energy. Page of Cups in reverse suggests that, again, I'm getting that sort of blocked, that like a shutdown of emotions, and like a growing awareness of it. Or maybe there's an apology that needs to be made that hasn't been made yet. And just kind of the Temperance in this deck, I think, refers to the alchemy of mixing elements together. And so it might be that there's just a little, like an imbalance, like an emphasis on... So I'm seeing the water here. And so because there's... Usually water is being poured onto the earth in the Temperance card, or if I got that right, I think so. And so, but here, because I'm seeing this emphasis on water and it's upside down, it's almost like the water's falling out of the cup. And so maybe there's too much of an emphasis on the earth. Maybe there's too much rootedness, too much of the kind of like stubborn, earthy energies. Those stabilizing energies, like the Saturn energies, are necessary for anything productive or long-lasting to happen in connections, in work, in life. You need that rooted, base chakra Saturn energy to create anything, even with another person, unless it's like, one and done. But if you want it to have any longevity, you need those creation rooted, building energies. But if you go too far in that direction, there can be criticism, there can be judgment, there can be like a a closed, kind of like a closed off energy, like the walls are too high. Like look at these cliffs in the background, you know, like there's ice. The Emperor's on a throne of ice, like atop mountains of ice, rather than, you know, pouring water from one cup to another. You know, this strange fish is going to fall out of that cup too. So like the only cups here are upside down. So it's sort of like the loving, supportive energies are leaking out of the connection, it seems like, because of this element of over control. And now I'm getting, you know, that there's maybe judgment, like the Emperor is making judgments. So maybe somebody is being quite critical in the connection, and it's kind of, you know, almost killing off the good feelings. So let's take that and go into your energies and your person's energies. I think rather what I'd like to look at is, how is your person viewing the connection at this time? Which I did in a reading that was, I feel like I recorded it not that long ago. I have things in the queue. I've not been good with the editing lately. So how your person is feeling about the connection. They're pretty satisfied. But they're perhaps in their sort of own energies. Interesting. Back of the deck, we've got the High Priestess. I'm loving the symbols on this card, the iconography. We've got lotus flowers, we've got wolf, we've got cherry blossom, sun, butterfly, tree, and of course the pentacles. So 9 of Pentacles it's sort of the consummate card of being satisfied in one's own energies. Because the question was, how is your person viewing the connection? I'd say that they think that the connection is doing quite well on its own. We've got the Three of Swords in reverse, which is funny, that came up in the last reading. So that's the energies of forgiveness, moving forward, moving away from maybe a situation that has happened, some kind of painful situation. It's sort of like, you know, pulling those swords out of the heart, the anatomical heart in this card, and you know, moving forward. So I think your person is feeling like the connection is thriving almost, and is moving forward effectively, but they might not be sharing that with you. So it's possible that they are keeping their satisfaction about the connection under wraps. And why would they be doing that? Maybe we need to ask that question. What do they want you to know about the connection at this time? What does your person want you to know about the connection at this time? Ace of Pentacles, Five of Cups in reverse, King of Swords in reverse. Bottom of the deck, we've got the Ten of Swords. Whoa, Nelly. Okay, this is coming through as maybe a message from your person's higher self. Your person wants you to know that they have behaved badly in this connection, and they're aware of it. And they are really trying at this time to integrate, or even just see the ways in which they have not shown up for you, the ways in which they have denigrated the connection, perhaps been critical of you. We did start out with those critical energies, the ways they've blocked their own heart chakra, criticism, judgment, over-controlling. At the King of Swords in reverse is not great energies, and the most charitable interpretation we can give it is being out of integrity. And when that card came out, I had an immediate feeling of wanting to cry. So your person wants you to know that if they have behaved that way, that it has cleaved them, and that they are now trying to focus on this, on unhealing, and on trying to manifest a release of those energies. And so it's like your person is aware that they have been out of integrity. They're aware that it has caused them anguish and heartbreak, I would say. But the worst is over, and they are integrating those lessons. They're seeing clearly, maybe for the first time, or allowing in just that really painful knowledge, it's causing them anguish of how they've behaved and just how not cool it's been. And so they're really trying to manifest that integration, that healing. They're trying to see this clearly at this time and find the gift in it and move forward. So whether you want to move forward with them is obviously up to you. But it looks as if I'm still seeing, the cups, like these cups are spilling back into the river. And usually these are the cups that, hold the upright cups energy, but we still got water upside down here. So there's emotions. They're just not, flowing the way that we would hope. But there's lots of earthy opportunity in this card, and that's anchoring in this healing. So it's like, although the Five of Cups in reverse really speaks of moving past the negative emotions into, finding the gift, finding the positives, healing. I'm seeing this as related to the previous cards that we had of those cups they're there, the love is there, the feelings are there, they're just not being allowed to flow freely quite yet. But, maybe the way to get there is through those earthy energies. And again, we were seeing that in the Temperance card in the beginning. And so, they want you to know that they see it. They see it and they don't like it. And they want to integrate it and move forward from those energies. They don't want this to be where it ends. Whether that's in respect of the relationship between you or their personal evolution. They are almost bringing an Emperor energy to dealing with their sort of negative imperiousness, for lack of a better way to put it. We're going to get a couple of channeled messages from your person and then we'll close out with one angel card of advice. So any channeled messages from your person? I feel like this is slightly redundant given that I just did this effectively with the tarot, but let's see if there's anything else. Now is not the time. I hope you'll wait for me. You are so very special. I'm sorry. And this love scares me. So those feel like they're in line with the messages of the tarot. So, it is very much up to you whether you wait for them to process through their stuff. If you're going to have the King of Swords coming out in a reading, that last section to me looked like accountability. And, if there's going to be King of Swords energy, what you want to see is accountability. And so it is up to you, of course, whether that accountability is enough. And, but it looks as if your person is feeling, like perhaps now they need to prioritize their own healing, their own integration. And they're also, sort of avoiding their feelings still. And it looks like there's some genuine contrition here and an awareness that, you deserve better than the way that they have behaved. Spirit, what is the advice for the collective in respect of this connection? Where should you be placing your focus at this time? Great shift. Interesting. At the bottom, there's 9999, which that seems significant too. So I will take that. I wasn't going to do more than one card, but not sure if you can see that. But 1122, great shift, personal growth, spiritual development, and manifesting goals, oneness, connection, and completion. First, focus on the positive changes occurring due to your efforts. That is resounding with that Ace of Pentacles earlier. Then expand your horizons and permit yourself to try something new. So many positive shifts are in store for you. The world around you is changing in favor of your intentions. So I'm not sure if I ended up editing out that part. Will edit out that part because I did a little restart at some point. But I was seeing that Ace of Pentacles, like your person wanted you to know that your manifestations are on the cusp of being rooted down and becoming real. And so that same message of just keep working at it, and things are coming in. And so that's very much emphasized in this 1122. And then bottom of the deck, 9999, lessons learned, culmination, results, benefits, reflection, completion. Take stock of your accomplishments and how you arrived at them. This is a reminder to maintain optimism and drive toward your goals. Maintain your momentum and know that the powers of heaven have your back. You made it. And the reward goes to you. Okay, we're going to leave it there, my friends. Thank you for being here. I hope that was of assistance. And yeah, it looks like good things are coming in for you. So that's really powerful and lovely. And that there's, some integration happening. So accountability and integration are really important when things have perhaps been less than ideal. So thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting me to read the cards for you. And we'll see you in the next one. Please do like, subscribe, leave a comment. Even just one little emoji will help boost the algorithm and have the video seen by more folks. And hopefully it can help. Okay, thank you. Bye.